you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Monday, July 21st, 2025. As we head towards the end of the year, let's see where Disclosure is going to take us. Yes, we've got something here could potentially be an ontological disclosure moment. We'll be talking about that shortly, my friends. In the meantime, let me go ahead and welcome in our audience. Let's see who the heck we have out there from our fans. Who's in the audience? Who's in the chat? Let's welcome in Anonymous Rex and Anton Ghost. I see Carl Joel Garrison's here along with Tom, Kathy Spire. We got Creativity from the Future. Delta Echo is in the chat along with Dennis Benke, Digger Dog, and Dragon Rider FPV. We've got Eliza Teal, Eversor, Firefly, Fry Guy, or Fire Guy, I should say. Not Fry Guy. Geraldine Durazio is here along with Gutnam Drifter. We've got Idaho Strong, John, Myatt, Lockett, J. Paul, and Kelly Broad with those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly. We've got Martime Unprepared along with Megan Betts. Mr. Catfish 2100 is here along with Mr. Joey B. Well, we see Paul DeMons here along with PC Anderson. Rainbow, also known as Jane, is in the chat. Rodney Cox, welcome, my friend. We've got Sam and Shelly Montgomery. Good to see you, Shelly. Steve Hines here along with Silent Fallujah. We've got the Chromosome Cowboy. Tia Marie is in the chat, and she's in the back. Can't wait to see what Tia has to say today. We've got Two Midgets on a Horse, William Underwood, and, of course, the Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy, coming to us from his break in Bristol, United Kingdom. How about that, my friends? On that note, let's go ahead and, if we can, and jump into the studio. We've got some things to talk about here, my friends. Yes, on a lot of ontological disclosure ahead. What's going on? Well, there was an interesting tweet that came out early yesterday morning, coming from, let's bring him up here. Mike's around. He's taking care of the kids, getting to bed. He'll be with us shortly. On that note, I'm just going to jump in and get right into the story, folks, here. Where am I at? Desktop. Where document? Where is it? I know I've got it here. Can't find it. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So over in these realms of Twitter, we have a person by the name of Dennis Asberg. He is from the OceanX team, CEO, owner of the company. One of his findings is he's the discoverer of the Baltic Sea anomaly. As you know, they've gone down to that recently again to do some more research on it. But we hear what we're going to be talking about today is not necessarily about that. It's about other stuff. He's good friends with Dr. Beatriz Villarroel, who in the past has been looking at, older historical plates that we had that were taken of the stars in the sky, identifying objects that should not have been there, where some of the information was accidentally destroyed by a member of the intelligence community who potentially didn't want that information to come out. But Dennis Asberg put off a statement that we're going to go through today now that he had said on Twitter. That's where this ontological disclosure is coming from, because he sounded pretty freaked out about what they have discovered. Let's get into it and figure out what it could potentially be. The tweet starts out, important announcement. I've just received some data that is so incredible, I'm at a loss for words. I wish I could share everything right now, but it has come from the right source, or has to come from the right source. That would probably be Beatrice. Stay tuned. Tagging Dr. Beatrice. There we go. As well as UAP Twitter, UFO Twitter, UAPX, and of course, good old hashtag UFO. Following up to what he had said, I'll do the spoiler now. it is true that this is an incredibly big discovery, and I had a hard time accepting all of this. You'll understand when the report comes out. So what are we talking about here? There is another paper that Dr. Beatriz, I believe, in the last week or so, went and announced that she's submitted. So is it from that paper? Is it from something else? Let's jump into this statement coming from Dennis. I'll go ahead and do the voiceover because he's talking to us in Swedish, and I don't think most of our audience understands Swedish. So let me do the voiceovers for you. We'll enjoy it. Hold on. Okay, so definitely I'm not going to understand that. Granted, there have been some ones that were kind of done voiceovers on. I'd rather kind of do the voiceover myself, have some fun with it. So let's get into this if we can. Hello, everyone. Don't go away. Don't switch away from me. There we go. I did it too quick. 3, 2, 1. This is important. I have to say, incredibly important. I came back from a little while ago after I was at work at the University of Stockholm. I worked together with Beatriz Villarroel and as an astronomer. As you know, we work with this, the Baltics genome, and this former, but Beatriz also works here to find life and the intelligence out there in the room. And especially in the vicinity of the Earth. When I came to work today, I know Beatriz has got data from before, but this new data that she got today, or rather she said she got it last night, is completely crazy. I can't tell you everything before and now. I can't do that myself because this has to be presented in a scientific way. And it is in the world. Okay, and it is in the world. But what I can say is that I've never been as shocked as when I was at work today. Both Beatriz and I, we are a bit untimely now, I can say. Now we know things that very few people know here on Earth. Sounds interesting. And we have, or rather Beatriz, but others have this scientific data. So it sounds like scientific data has come around. Beatriz has it. Other people have it. And Beatriz has done a potentially report on it. Let's dive in. That it precedes things around us, and then there is evidence on now. There is data evidence on now. So it sounds like if we do have non-human intelligence around us, and there are craft, they could have undeniable proof in as far as data goes that this thing is real. And it is so incredible things that it is difficult to put words on it. So something strong, something you cannot go ahead and, talk about because it's, shocking for that matter. But what will happen now is that it is working with this right now. Okay. We're dealing with some translation issues going from Swedish to English, but I'll trust it. To be able to present this here in the future internationally. So we're talking about a discovery that's so big, we have to go ahead and present it internationally. It's not something small. Now I am doing this because I can't keep it. I can't tell you everything. But he's giving us an insight, folks. But at the same time, I feel that I am sitting with some information that I feel a bit sad to sit on. Could this be what they call the somber moment? Are you there, Mike?
Right here. Ontological shock. Somber. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me, Thomas.
Yeah. You can see the face.
It only took 8 years for us to get here, but yeah.
We're finally getting there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after I've seen this data and the information around this, which is up text now, I understand why it is dark. Well, there's the somberness, why it is dark. And,
right.
you know, Mike, just going ahead and saying, hey, we've got potentially, she's looked at the place before, they've seen it before, potentially there are large craft in low Earth orbit around our planet, and that's what her prior research went to today. But just knowing those craft would be there, Mike, that wouldn't be so dark, would it?
It would depend on the extent of the data and information and what ultimately it will mean for the human race here on Earth.
Oh, how big are these craft and how many are there? That could be dark, I guess.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. Why not talk about the whole truth? I mean, the whole truth. Something has been mentioned about it. And I understand that because it is so crazy, incredible, strange, so there is no word for it. Shocking. Ontological shock, like Mike from our title card.
Yep, exactly.
And now it has happened in a scientific way. So we're getting beyond just people seeing things, people recording things. We've got statistical data, information, recordings that have gone on, that it's happened in a scientific way. Mike, generally when something happens in a scientific manner, it can potentially be proved one way or the other, right?
It can be proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, because usually what it means is they can verify and repeat the data and
Correct.
establish that it is new science.
Right.
That's what it implies, Thomas.
Yeah. Interesting. It has been calculated, analyzed, and it has been controlled back and forth all the time. By who?
By the research team at Stockholm.
Okay. And apparently things are happening around us. And I can understand, as I said a little while ago. So, tying this back to the conversation we had with Lou Elizondo in the past, where he said that if humanity realized and could see all the UAP that were around us all the time, what was the comment he had said?
That people would shit themselves if they realized how many objects are right above us.
Exactly, my friend. So, and as I can understand, as I said a little while ago, why this information should not come out to humanity. Oh.
Yes.
We're talking the Jimmy Carter syndrome. Let's go put our heads in our hands and weep for a week.
Yep. Which it seems like they're doing right now, which is interesting.
What did they do? Learn to serve man is not to serve. It's not a book about service. It's a cookbook, potentially.
Well, yeah, that was a good episode on Twilight Zone.
Oh, I know. Let's continue on. Here we go. I prefer the Midnight Special, actually. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on, humanity. As I said, absolutely incredible. And now I know what it is about. And I wish that I could say everything to you now. I can't. But I actually asked Beatriz, can I mention something about this? She gave me the good feeling that I can't mention what it is really about. So I don't think this is going to turn into a Ross Coulthart. I know where there's a building. There's a UFO so large they put a building on it. I think this is something we're actually going to get an answer from scientists about, not just a reporter trying to make the story about himself.
Not on a story like this, no. Because it is scientific and not an urban legend.
Yeah.
We're hearing something that is documented, verified, and proven.
Oh, speaking about Rosso, did you see he's got a video out there with Jesse Michaels and they're exploring the Boogosphere?
Oh God, no! I avoid that. You know that already.
Oh, so do I, my friend.
You know I've been a little busy lately.
Oh, just a titch. Let's continue on. She gave me the good feeling that I can't mention what it was really about, but let's see what he can mention. More than that, it is a new uptext, a scientific uptext that is made. It sounds like it's a scientific paper that she's submitted, potentially. And that ties back to her, Beatriz. Could this tie back to her paper that she submitted a couple days ago, maybe? It could.
We're on thin ice right now. But,
you don't say anything. I don't know anything about this. I'm just saying because there's a tweet out there of Beatriz talking about this. So don't get yourself in trouble, Mike.
Okay.
I care about you.
Yeah, I know.
Let's continue on.
Yeah, you're right. Keep going.
Yeah. So some kind of uptext that is made that will come out to the public. Good. And I'm not kidding. This is not bullshit.
Right.
So one of the newcomers on Veda VMH is, as I said, what is Veda VMH? That's a new one. Let me go to
Chat GPT. Put in Stockholm University and enter in that term.
It's searching. No, it can't be that. It's not the ventromedial hypothalamus.
No,
it's not that.
It could be a glitch with the translation.
Well, this is him posting this, so we'll figure it out. Let's continue on. Beatriz Villarroel, an astronomer at Stockholm University.
She is.
Look at this. This is something completely new. They have still worked with it for a while, but it is new data, new information. So this must be tying back to her other stuff she was doing back from research in the 50s. Maybe no, because that's the only thing we've ever heard Beatrice kind of talk about potentially. Either that, but he says, I think he's saying it's not to deal with his underwater stuff potentially. At least that's where the Twitter community is going at this point.
Right, they're wrong.
Yeah.
But we'll go over it.
Oh yeah, here we go. Let's move on. That is so incredible that you hardly believe that it is true. I have looked at the data and realized that it is true. But I can't really understand a part of me. So I can't understand that it is true. So he's hearing something. He's seeing something. The data is there. The data is proving something is true. But he's having a hard time believing that it is true.
Right. That's exactly what he's saying.
That it has been so, and perhaps under a very, very long time. Well, okay. They've talked about the non-human intelligence not just showing up here in the late 40s and early 50s, that they've been potentially involved in humanity and in this planet since before humanity's been around.
Right.
Potentially.
Yes.
That would tie to perhaps under a very, very long time. I don't think we're talking about a natural disaster or a catastrophe that comes every 6,000 years. And, well, look at that. It's been over 6,000 years that's due. This something has to do with the non-human intelligence who could be here to observe us and check out what goes on in the last hurrah days of the human race before the next global catastrophe comes. To be continued. And there is nothing nice to do with the subject matter. Nothing to do with it. This is completely different. So I know what it is about. And I am, of course, not writing, but still very careful now. That is why I feel that it is good to tell you all. Perhaps it makes you very angry, and I think, well, Jesus Christ, come on, let's go back a little bit. I'm going too fast. I didn't pause it. Or perhaps it makes you very angry, and I think, well, I don't think it will happen. But you don't know. Mike, it doesn't sound like that it might happen. It sounds like, based on the data, it has happened and has been happening. But
I think what he's trying to say.
Yes, that's all we're talking about. But you don't know.
He is claiming to have information that the rest of the world does not. And when you make claims and promises, like you pointed out earlier, and you don't explain exactly what it is or show any of the evidence and proof to substantiate the claim.
Like Ross Coulthart does a lot, yeah.
People get frustrated. So that's what he meant by the word angry.
Yeah.
That he understands by coming out publicly to the degree that he is, that people will be frustrated taking him at his word without knowing the full story or seeing the evidence.
Right.
That's the correct translation of what he was just trying to
But it also sounds like that data is going to be coming out not from him, but from Beatriz soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. Let's move on. But you don't know. You don't know, but it will be something like that. There is no bullshit. 100% true. Then there was the myth. And the whole thing. We talked about it later. As I said, Jesus Christ, sometimes it goes fast. Okay, as I said, you know a little bit. But more will come, I promise. More will come. Beatriz will tell herself, will tell with her own words what it is about. So clarifying that, yes, Dr. Beatriz, Mike, is going to give us the definitive answer on what this post is about.
Discovered. Right?
Yeah. It will take some time here. Oh, no. Well, hopefully not as long as Disclosure, because if Disclosure goes on like it's going to be, Mike, it's going to be for our kids, not for us, because we'll be long dead.
It won't take that long, Thomas.
I know. I'm just saying.
Right.
Let's continue on. It'll take some time. We have to melt this ourselves, because it is so think for yourself. Oh, don't be a sheep. Bah. Be a wolf. Think for yourself. Yeah. Don't follow groupthink is what he's saying. It is completely crazy. Well, we could see that about a bunch of people in Disclosure land, but yeah.
Well, that's true. But he's talking about the information.
Yeah, I know. It is difficult to melt this. Difficult, I think melt is maybe believe this, to integrate this, to take it in.
To accept it.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. And I know I start to think like this. Now I understand why I have to calm down, why don't we talk about this? You know, he's looking for words there. You can see that pause with his upper lip, just kind of pulling it in, and then looking back in the camera and saying, more will come, I promise. More will come. I continue tomorrow, as I said, working with Beatriz, and we keep going through the material. But now you know a little bit. You have to use fantasy yourself. But I can't go into details. Thank you for listening. And of course, end of the night. Goodbye.
There was some pieces left out that I remember. Like he said that he personally feels that this information is not something that the human race should know about.
Right.
So I didn't hear that you covered that part.
Well, this is the video that he actually posted with a translation that came directly from him. So if there are other people who took his words and translated them and got different words out of it, it's not coming out of the English translation he actually provided.
Okay.
So yeah, there's always stupendous claims, kind of like when you have the video we're going to be watching coming up shortly of Representative Eric Burlison talking about that our government has a recovery program, right?
Right.
For recovering our crashed advanced technology. And it's also used for recovering our adversaries' advanced technology. And sometimes it potentially recovers non-human intelligence technology. Now, that particular statement was then taken by Ross Coulthard and put out there to say Eric Burlison goes and states that we have UFO crash recovery teams. No, we have crash recovery teams that handle our stuff, our adversary stuff, and maybe some non-human stuff. But it's not like we have a special group of people coming from Burlison who are specifically tasked with recovering crashed UFOs, right?
Right. That's correct. Yeah.
Comes down to the words and what was said. And from this, and this particular translation, while there may be some more salacious translations of it, we've heard that before when we've had translations going from Eric Burlison that he spoke in English that were translated by Jaime Maussan's people to something more spectacular that was then translated back to English by Jack over at Cosmic Road to sound even more stupendous and salacious. You just, there's something here, and we could take it and make it sound bigger, but there's already a lot to go off of here.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good point. So they discovered something, it sounds like, that is going to have ontological shock.
Yes.
To everybody.
Right. Now the community out there, Mike, they're saying if it is true that it's an incredibly big discovery, and I had a hard time accepting all of this, you will understand when the report comes out coming from Dennis, but from other people. That was a waste of time. Dennis, for you, yes, but not for me. John Ratcliffe said, I don't care that what you guy thinks he knows. Here's a lot what I know. He's completely unprepared for how underwhelming the response will be to his claims. Boo, I say boo. Yes, there's a lot of people saying I have an announcement, looking at different stuff and trying to get it in there. Yes, and this is kind of how I felt a little bit. I love it when they give no context and simply beat around the bush with nothing but conversation about nothing. Whoa, amazing. Chromosome Cowboy, hey, from our chat says, I'm impatient, just spit it out. So a lot of people, Mike, they're respecting what he's saying to a degree, but they want more information.
Right. Which is to be expected under something like this. But I want to advise everybody that these are people who are not usually vocal publicly.
Right.
They don't have a book to sell. They are not putting together a show or anything they're trying to grift any money from. The reason that they made this announcement is because they want the world to be aware that there is a huge discovery scientifically that's proven that is going to be announced at one point. And they're putting it out there now preliminarily in case something would have happened to them.
Right.
Before the information came out. This is an insurance. They're putting this out and making this announcement for insurance.
Right.
Because they know how serious it is. Dennis pointed out there are a handful, and literally a handful, no more, on the entire planet that know about this.
Right.
That's it. So they're making this public announcement so that everybody is aware that if there was some catastrophe to strike these people, there's a reason for that.
Oh, you mean if they were disappeared by the deep state, in other words?
Yeah, if they accidentally shot themselves in the back of the head 5 times.
Oh, they accidentally committed suicide. They had a heart attack. They had a stroke. They fell out. More importantly, what's the one that happens all the time? They fell out of a hotel window, right?
12-story window.
Yeah.
That's right, backwards.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for putting this notice out there for everybody to know what they're working on, how serious it is, and people need to be aware, because until they come out publicly, they are at grave risk, because I can assure you that there are governments like our own that do not want this information to come out.
I mean, hell, we
absolutely don't.
We just covered the story. Yeah, we just covered a story on this where Dr. Gary Nolan was told to shut up by people inside the White House. Probably Jake Sullivan would be my guess, or your guess for that matter.
Yeah, no, that's true. And they threatened him with a violation of Title 18, and with that comes execution if convicted. So they threatened Gary not only to shut up, but with death. So that's how serious they're taking this. And something like this, that if and when it comes out publicly, they will no longer be able to deny the existence of UAP, NHI, or that we're alone on this planet. That would then force their hand. They don't like being in a position like that. They take it as an active threat. Our government, other governments around the world, they are not happy that something like this could come from the scientific community and completely change everything that we think we know about our planet.
I wonder if this potential discovery would delay Beatrice's visiting the United States again until this comes out.
It may.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The work is proceeding. She's moving forward, and it's going to be something very interesting when it comes out.
Yeah. Absolutely. It always is, Mike, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It usually is, depending on who the parties are that are involved. And like you said earlier, this is not coming from an individual whose credibility is not taken seriously.
I mean, I think everyone, when it comes down to talking about the Baltic Sea anomaly, I don't think there's any people out there who are challenging it and saying, oh, that doesn't exist. It's an anomaly. There's nothing down there. They've actually gone down there. They've seen it. Granted, we don't know what it is, but this is the guy who actually discovered that.
Right. And he's also letting everybody know that this breakthrough that they discovered has nothing to do with the Baltic Sea anomaly.
Correct, sir.
Right. That's a very key piece of information that I think a lot of people, it went right over their head.
Yeah. I would say so, but you know, Mike, I almost feel like this is a good opportunity to go ahead and poll the audience.
Yeah. This is the perfect time for that.
Okay. About the statements from Sweden. Oh, God. I'm in. Count me out. All right. Regarding the statements coming from Sweden, we just heard, either you're in, you accept it, or count me out, I don't believe it. Let's go ahead and start that poll. It's either one way or the other. Let me go ahead and bring this up and see where our audience goes. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds, please.
Sure. 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we're starting now.
All right, folks, you got 1 minute and 30 seconds to go ahead and tell us what you think. Are you in? Do you believe in what's going on? Or are you counting me out saying, I don't believe what the hell is being said? Would love to hear what our audience has to say. This is your chance to go ahead and say it. Well, look at that, Mike. Already with 61 votes in from our audience, we have a this is almost a 50% lead of 66% of our audience is saying, I'm in. 37% of our audience right now is 36%, 35% is it dropping, is saying count me out. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, look at that, 85 votes already. Can we get this to 100 votes with just 42 seconds left? I hope so. Emmanuel's in. Laura, are you in or are you out on this one?
Completely in.
Excellent. Who else do we have in the back? Tia, what say you? Are you in or out on this one?
Oh, I'm in.
Kyle, what do you think?
I'm all in.
We're all in. Well, it sounds like, and Sergeant Daniel, USMC, our resident masshole, are you in or out on this one?
I'll be in on this one.
All right, look at this. Everyone, Mike, and are you in or out on this one?
I'm in.
100% I'm in.
Well,
So you
everyone
know
in the
that,
back, even Nunya, who I couldn't see, is in, and we are at 100 votes, and our timer just expired. How about that? Our audience, I love it. 67% of our audience is saying, let me go ahead and end the poll, bring it up, and I have a screenshot for posterity's sakes. Let me move the super chat or the chats over to here again. It's a faux pas. Let's bring up the final answer. The final results. 67% of our audience, Mike, is saying, yes, I'm in. 33% of our audience is saying I'm out. But you know what? I don't think we've had a situation in the back where we've had every single one of the people in the back unite.
Right. Well, it tells me that they're very smart, have paid very close attention to this announcement, and is taking it pretty seriously.
Oh yeah,
which they should. So I think we accomplished our job in providing this information for everybody to understand what's going on.
Absolutely. If we can get to this, Sergeant Daniel, USMC, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, I just had a question. What do you think? I mean, what's our best guess that this is going to turn out to be? I mean, is there what are they usually looking at? What is their science? What do they spend most of their time doing? Like, what are they? That's kind of what I'm kind of wondering about.
Oh, what could they mean? Like,
They're here.
Oh yeah, but what is their? What are they looking in? In the oceans? Are they looking at the sky? Are they looking at the orbit? Are they looking at That's kind of what I'm wondering about.
I gotcha.
Well, we know Dennis, like you pointed out, Asperg is a specialist oceanographer who discovered the Baltic Sea anomaly. But what he said in this video and this announcement is this absolutely has nothing to do with the Baltic Sea anomaly. So it's not ocean-based, Daniel. That tells me that obviously the work that Beatriz does, Dr. Villarroel, is an astronomy. So she is looking in space and made a groundbreaking discovery about that.
Well, she's looking in space, but she's looking at things in low Earth orbit or an orbit around the Earth itself, not around our sun, not around the Milky Way galaxy, like having a large object shooting across that's from outside of our solar system. But, this is something that, hello, it's here and up there, not way the heck out there.
So Laura has a hand up, and while Laura is speaking, Thomas, I would suggest that maybe we can do a background on some of the work that Beatriz has done publicly so far. And my suggestion would be pull up the information on the Menzel Gap and the mystery satellites that she has looked into, and see what the audience thinks about that. Donald Menzel, who was a U.S. intelligence
right.
asset.
So the Menzel Gap, let me get this here. I'm doing this on the cuff as quickly as I can to get it there. Get this here. Thank you for Richard Gelrich for giving us the first result. We love Richard Gelrich over on X. What is he talking about? The Menzel Gap was not an academic oversight. It was narrative engineering. Beatriz's evidence retroactively validates Menzel's containment role as a scientific gatekeeper. Beatriz Villarroel's transient discoveries directly changed the historic integrity of the Menzel Gap, which is the deliberate, politically motivated non-preservation and suppression of astrophysical photographic plates from a key period of UAP activity. Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Donald Menzel, a prominent debunker and early MJ-12 figure, oversaw this gap, ensuring that the archival vacuum during periods like the summer of 1952, when the Washington, D.C. UFO flap occurred. This act functioned as a scientific firewall, erasing potential physical correlates of high strangeness phenomena from the historical record. So this is back at the time when we had, in 1952, Mike, when we had the flyovers of Washington, D.C. going over for weeks at a time of UFOs, that Einstein actually reached out to the president to say, don't shoot these things down. It would be bad for humanity, although we still try to do that.
We did.
Yeah. So at that same time, there were a bunch of plates that were taken. And what I mean is photographic plates, like you're taking the old images like they used to take pictures on glass in those old cameras, Mike, from the early 1900s. They were still using that in astronomy in 1950. So there were plates that were taken at that time that showed a whole bunch of really large objects that were around the Earth in low Earth orbit that weren't visible years later. But when they did the comparison between the two, those original plates back at that time were destroyed by Menzel, correct?
Correct.
Purportedly.
It was a U.S. intelligence asset.
Right.
Donald Menzel, yeah.
CIA, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this. So Beatrice's work demonstrates that these plates, had they been preserved, could have provided hard data, optical evidence of transient phenomena temporally synchronized with mass UAP sightings. So she's saying that when these mass sightings were going on, there were big craft in orbit around our planet close to these particular locations. Her recovered plates from Palomar, Mount Palomar Observatory, which recorded disappearing star-like objects during the same nights on 1952, when the DC events were going on, prove this conclusively. Astrographic data was not only sensitive enough, but already recording events beyond current astrophysical classification.
Right.
So the implications are scientific malfeasance, data weaponization, temporal symbolic coordination, collapse of the containment layer, and of course, new ontological infrastructure, where these discoveries demand the development of a new scientific framework that does not exclude anomaly as noise. These transients are signal, not contamination. So what was the conclusion? Beatrice did not just find disappearing stars. She exposed a historical disinformation vector embedded within the scientific custodianship. These plates prove that the phenomenon interacts with instrumentation and timing in ways that invalidates decades of denial. The Menzel Gap is no longer academic. It's evidence of strategic epistemic control. Thank you for bringing that up, Mike.
You're welcome. The audience needs to know what the work is that Beatrice has been doing all this time and what her discovery may lead to when this comes out.
Yeah. Good. Let her change history. There's been a bunch of history that people have tried to erase time and time again. The debunkers, the intelligence community, the federal government, the executive branch, for that matter, has done whatever they can do to keep this secret from coming out. All we can hope is for Beatrice's continued health before she can bring this information forward.
Yes. And I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why this information is starting to come out publicly now.
Yeah.
For that very reason.
Yeah.
Laura's had a hand up patiently.
Laura, take it, my dear lady.
Yeah, Menzel, what a work, huh? I think he also, not only did he destroy the plates, but he, during his time with the astronomy department at Harvard, he said that they couldn't produce any more plates during that period he was there. But I would say that what she was working with too is local being the key word, probes and asteroids. However, I don't suspect that it's an asteroid they're looking at. If everyone goes to something called the VASCO project.org, it's VASCO project, one word, .org. That's where it gets into the details of what they look at and public outreach.
Very well done, Laura.
Is it?
That's right.
Is it vascoproject.org?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's an old website. That's a really old website. Wow. It's just text. Let's bring it up. And what are we talking about here? Here we go. Yes. Either that or it didn't want to load right. But talking about local probes and asteroids, exolasers, pre-Sputnik satellites, vanishing stars, our team, and of course, donate. So something interesting, Laura, we're going to have to check into.
Very well done, Laura.
Thank you. I plan on remote viewing this tomorrow. I actually looked at her work back when she did it because she was on Richard Dolan, and I captured the images of the slides, and we used that as a target. And not all of them, interestingly enough, but the vast majority that she circled were craft, huge craft. That's what we got. Could be wrong, but that's what we got.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. And Laura, can you do me a favor? That Dolan interview that she did with him was a year ago. Could you locate the link to that and that YouTube video of when she was on talking with him? And I believe towards the end of the video, the last 4 or 5 minutes is when she's covering this. Can you provide the link and send it to Thomas in the back?
Well, we've got one here coming from the vascoproject.org. Granted, they're not HTTPS. Your browser wants to stop you from going and checking this out. And they have a TED Talk here where Beatriz is talking about why we should search for alien artifacts.
And the Dolan show was January 23rd of 2024.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I think maybe some of our friends who know, who are closer to Richard Dolan than I am, Mike and Alan, can hopefully get us some permission to go ahead and show the clip from that, because it's something I think we're going to have to follow up with, Mike. I think we should be able to hit there.
Well, we're going to cover this and talk more about this moving forward.
Oh, yeah, this is just this is just putting our toes in the water at this point.
Right. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll reach out to Alan.
Oh, yeah. Alan and Mike, for that matter.
Yeah.
Now, in other news about everything disclosure, is there anything we haven't covered on this yet, Mike, or can we move on?
Well, the one last thing that I think we should provide to the audience is look up mystery satellites.
All right. But that basically, with regards to Beatriz, I'm not finding that right now, but this goes along with Beatriz going ahead and finding objects that are in orbit around our planet that don't align to any earthly objects, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to continue to cover this. We could do it at a later date.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Another key piece of information.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to it. So now in our second story for tonight, which is one of our headlines, is going ahead and talking about there was a recent interview of Representative Eric Burlison with Peter Skafish, who's a co-founder of the Soul Foundation, talking about what they're up to, what we can look forward to. And it's, it seems that Eric Burlison, Mike, has truly picked up the torch and pitchforks, for that matter, for disclosure, moving things forward, where we've heard a quiet down coming from Tim Burchett and others, even Anna Polina Luna, who's the head of the National Secrets Declassification Task Force. Yeah. Right. But hey, at least we got a couple 100,000 documents today on what do you call it? MLK. What?
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah, we did. Amazing. There were that many documents kept locked away from the American people for all these years.
Right.
Now remember also one more thing about these UFO hearings that were coming up. The purpose of the UFO hearings coming from this National Declassification Task Force, correct me if I'm wrong, was to be going over all the information that came and was declassified by the different executive branches under the direction of our president Donald Trump to come and declassify this stuff. But it seems that none of the agencies have declassified anything provided to this task force, and now they're looking for whistleblowers again.
Right. Because not a lot of people want to come forward and speak publicly at potentially the next UAP hearing.
Because one, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say the point you're about to make. Go ahead. Tell everybody.
One, there's no whistleblower protections in place to go ahead and protect these people in the event they want to bring out the truth. And two, the House of Representatives hasn't done shit with the information that they've received. Mike?
Yes, correct. 100%. You took the words right out of my mouth, Thomas.
Yeah. And I apologize if I talk over you or other people. It just sometimes I know what people are going to say next, and I just jump in, and that's just my personality. And I apologize for everybody.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, it's not a problem with you and me. You know that.
I'm just letting the audience know because some people in the audience saying, "Fessler, shut the fuck up."
No. Thomas and I speak with the same voice. We know the same information. Anything that he wants to bring out there, be my guest.
Mike Disclosure, speak with forked tongue. No, not at all.
No.
Just joking. All right, let's get to this. All right, so Peter Skafish interviewing Eric Burlison. We'll try to do with as many limited interruptions, but just so you know, we stop and we say things here or there. Why, Mike?
Fair use, Thomas.
Yeah.
We have to comment on the subject matter that we're covering.
Yeah. Fair use can only go for so long. We can only play the tape for so long without making commentary. Otherwise, we don't qualify for fair use. And I'm a contract guy. I'm a legal guy. I get it. And so I try to follow it as closely as we can, although we get a little bit fuzzy here or there. Let's watch this. Let's enjoy this with the audience. And let's get to it, as people say on YouTube a lot.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go.
Congress. That's Congressman Eric Burlison. The congressman is a sixth-generation Missourian with 20 years of private sector experience as an investment advisor and software consultant. He was elected to the House of Representatives to represent Missouri's 7th Congressional District in 2022. He serves on the House Oversight and Reform Committee, as well as the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Most importantly for our purposes, he's a member of and driving force of the House of Representatives UAP caucus, and he's played an instrumental role in the House Oversight and Reform Committee's 2023 and 2024 hearings. And Congressman, we are very honored and very grateful to have you here. You know, even in this day and age where UAP have become a serious topic, you are regularly now engaging the public, acting in Congress on the issue. And I think with Anna Paulina Luna, the two of you are really the driving force right now on the House Oversight Committee of the efforts there. And, you know, so both on behalf of the Soul Foundation and our audience, but especially people engaging this, who are very invested in UAP secrecy reform and disclosure, really want to thank you for your work. We know it's not easy to do. It's not an easy thing to expend political capital on, but you're out there doing it and out there doing it forcefully. So thank you and really welcome to our show.
Good to be on. Appreciate it.
So, you know, I want to kind of leap into the occasion for the interview and ask you just a fairly direct question about what's going on right now in the committee. You recently announced that there is an intention to hold another hearing in early September. And, you know, we want to know what the planned agenda is and really what the intention is behind that hearing.
Yeah, thank you for the question. As we've been studying this issue and working, towards a level of disclosure, we have a number of goals when it comes to the UAP topic, and one of them is a hearing. I want to touch on some of the other things that we're working on as well, because we fully believe that we're probably not going to be able to reveal a smoking gun at a hearing. but we need to get to the point where that information is released, which is why we are sponsoring. I'm going to be sponsoring language that Senator Rounds is also sponsoring in the Senate that requires disclosure. We're working with David Grush on that language, and so it will basically require the agencies, especially the White House, to have to release any and all information that after a certain period of time. That's probably the number one goal. Outside of that, we want to protect whistleblowers, and so there's language that I think that we all support. Tim Burchett has got some language that provides protection for whistleblowers, because a lot of these individuals, their life is completely upset. They lose their benefits, they lose their pension, their health care benefits, and they lose their job. And we don't want to make patriots who take the bold step to have to sound the truth to the American people, to have to suffer like that. And then in addition, we have the hearing. And so I think at the end of the day, a lot of the goal on disclosure is not to do these things behind closed doors, not to be, get in a skiff. That's really not our goal. Our goal is to get as much information out to the American people as possible. We've had some good hearings so far. The first hearing that I was able to be a part of was the one with David Grush, which was I think a historic moment and an amazing hearing. We also heard, we had a second hearing with Lou Elizondo and others. But both those hearings were fantastic. But a guy like me from the Show Me State, I'm still at a place where the testimony that I've heard is interesting, and I'm willing to listen, but I'm doing so with a very skeptical and jaundiced view, because I don't trust people. I don't trust this government, and until I see it, I'm from Missouri. You're going to have to show me, and so that for me, that's why I'm on this track. I feel compelled to try to get to that point where I finally get an answer.
So, Mike, here we have someone coming from the Republican Party from the House of Representatives going ahead and saying, I don't trust the government, when the government at this point is being run by his party.
Right. That's a very bold statement. I happen to agree with him on that. I agree with a lot of the points that he made. The only exception to that I could see was the second UAP hearing on November 13th of 2024. Yep. That I felt was a real shit show. You and I covered that on the show live.
Well, it's actually the third hearing. Everyone forgets about the initial hearing that happened with the UAPTF coming from the House of Representatives at that time. But it seems like everyone wants to take it and put it out of our mind, when in reality, that was probably, next to what David Grush had said, one of the most revealing hearings, and had a point where our government at that time was the most accepting to disclosure and talking about the truth.
Right. And I also agree with Representative Burlison that the July 26, 2023 UAP public hearing with David Grush was in fact historic. It was. Yeah. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
And more importantly,
we haven't had one since then.
You know what? And all the stuff that Grush brought forward, the House of Representatives didn't do shit.
Nope.
Let's be honest.
Not a damn thing.
All right.
We had Ivan Hanel on here talking about that, if you remember.
All right, let's continue. Here we go, Mike.
Which is why our second hearing, or this hearing that we're going to do, is going to get us a little bit closer, because we're seeking and trying to get people in that hearing that are firsthand witnesses, people that have had encounters, that have had their hands on material, that in their official capacity working for the federal government.
Okay, that would again be historic, like you said about Dave Grush's testimony in the 2023 hearing. How confident are you that those kind of witnesses will be able to come forward for this hearing?
It's not easy. It's really not. Some of them that we've reached out to have refused to come in. They don't find the value. They have come forward before, and or in private or in skiffs, and they're not seeing action. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to take this topic seriously, and trying to treat it like I did in the private sector, where you have milestones, you have goals, you have things that you actually can achieve. And so that hopefully will give more people the confidence to come forward and be willing to come to a public hearing. We're not being totally shut out. We will have some people that are witnesses, but it is not easy to convince somebody to come forward.
Yeah, we're familiar with that process with whistleblowers, and it's very, very difficult for people from the intelligence community to even talk to Congress, let alone speak in open hearings under oath. So a moment ago, you said what you did in the 2023 hearing, that you want to see it. You're from the Show Me State. You're exercising very responsible skepticism, which we believe should be done with this subject, even if we're high confidence about it, because it's owed to anyone we're trying to persuade of it. So let me ask you, I mean, how confident are you at this point with the claims that you've received in the House under testimony that a component of the U.S. government is in possession of retrieved UAP vehicles, and also that there's a reverse engineering program?
Yeah, I fully believe that. I fully believe that there is a crash retrieval program. I'm confident that exists. The question is, what are they retrieving, and are the stories of Jacob Barber and others true? That occasionally they will retrieve something that's non-human intelligence, or that's created by someone outside of Earth. So that's yet to be proven to me. And so, but I fully believe and know that there is a crash retrieval program. Often retrieving our own materials, our test materials, or our adversaries' materials.
And
now, if I can really quick, Mike, this is the statement that Ross took out of context, where they said that we have a crash retrieval program to go ahead and take care of our own craft that go down, that are test craft, to go ahead and recover our adversaries' craft. And maybe sometimes they're going and recovering a non-human intelligence craft, but it's not like we have a specific crash retrieval team that's dedicated for UFOs, right?
Correct. Look up DART, D-A-R-T. That is the military's downed aircraft recovery team.
Right.
They are in place since we've had a military, that any of our or our foreign adversaries' aircraft that come down, they specifically go to recover. As far as if it's UAP or not, it's not specific to that.
No.
But I'm sure sometimes they will occasionally come across a downed UAP craft and do a recovery on it.
Yeah.
Christopher Sharp broke the story on that with the Office of Global Access that we covered, and how they contract special forces teams from the military to do the actual recovery of some of the downed UAP that they've located.
Correct.
Right. So,
which kind of aligns with, I hate to say it, some of the things Jake Barber has said in the past, that they've recovered other craft. It wasn't necessarily just for UFOs, but it was for other stuff. But sometimes they got that magic egg. Is it like the Kinder Egg? When you get it, you break it apart and there's a toy inside you could put together, maybe? Everyone should know what a Kinder Egg is out there. My God, yeah.
The one that was dangling on the end of a rope that we saw, that breaking report that Ross said.
Stephen Greer.
Yeah, it was a Greer egg, and it looked like a balloon. So, yeah, that was not overwhelming,
to
say the least.
Yeah, all right. Let's continue on. I just wanted to pause and clarify to everybody, this is where that quote came from. And if you just have to listen to it to understand what was actually said. Let's move on.
To witnesses who are considering talking to your committee, talking to you as an individual person in Congress, and also doing public testimony in hearings. I mean, what kind of assurances is the committee able to offer them in terms of protecting their livelihood, their careers, ensuring that retaliation doesn't happen?
I mean, sadly, there's not much that we can do. And that's why we need to pass Tim Burchett's bill or maybe other more language to put in the law that gives us the ability to protect people that do come forward. I think that's a lacking. It's clearly, an issue that we need to address.
Right. That makes a great deal of sense. And so it sounds like the legislative agenda that you see as ideal is increased whistleblower protections or whistleblower protections on this subject at all. But you also mentioned the UAP Disclosure Act. It sounds like you're sponsoring that based on what you just said, or sponsoring from the House in conjunction with Mike Rounds and Chuck Schumer. Can you say a little more about that bill and why you think it's important?
Yeah, I mean, the framework of the bill is similar to the JFK release language. And, which originally when I was talking last year about that language, I thought that it probably wasn't going to be good enough. But look where we are with the JFK files. We have documents now being released that the CIA did not want to be released. We're learning more and more about this topic. And look, I'm not conspiratorial, but I have been moved on this topic. I went from believing that the most likely scenario was that Oswald acted alone to now it's definitive that the CIA at least lied multiple times to Congress and covered up their connections to Lee Harvey Oswald.
How did he transition across from UFOs into Kennedy, Mike? I missed the jump.
Because the way the UAPDA was structured legislatively was based off of the JFK conspiracy legislation that was put into place.
But that approach still allows a president to go ahead and override it and say, you know what? All the other information we're going to bring forward, I'm going to lock away permanently. Like it initially happened with Trump. When it followed up with Biden, he did the same thing, and they weren't going to bring anything else forward because it could be a risk to national security. So it still allows the president to cover up the truth. Right. Or did I miss something?
No, you missed nothing. It's a failed type of legislation to try to base this on for something as important as this. It was a mistake then. It's a mistake now, and it doesn't seem like they've learned from those mistakes. Yeah. And let me get back real quick. I want to clarify something to the audience. The Burchett whistleblower protection that was to be introduced last year, it's one page. That's all it is. Just one small page that Tim tried to introduce. And what happened? They shot it the fuck down. But they would not let that be entered in at all.
Tim tried to do this in the last session of the House, and they shot him down and would not let him do it. Maybe no wonder why he's so disillusioned with the whole disclosure thing. He tries to get stuff there. Nothing.
Right.
I mean, we all, going back for years, we've been hearing Tim Burchett on TMZ exclusive saying it's a cover-up.
Right.
Not so much today.
No, but
Morris talking about his missing donkeys, which I love donkeys because they're so cute, and you can't go wrong with donkeys. But his donkeys that always break out of his yard, or his convertible that he got when he graduated from high school. Mike, wouldn't it have been beautiful if we would have gotten convertibles when we graduated from high school? Talk about a silver spoon in your fucking mouth.
Right. No, you're right about that. Good for him, though.
Yeah.
Listen, we support the work that Tim is doing.
Oh, yeah,
on
we
this
do.
subject.
But it's also good to point out that, yes, he comes from a family of money.
He does.
Yeah, it's okay. We love him anyway.
Listen, on his time off right now at the break, he was, changing a tire?
On the convertible,
So-
and he talked about the story and when he got it, yep.
Yep. So, you know what? He's still down to earth.
Yeah, he is.
Good for him.
I love him, absolutely. Although I've been accused of making fun of his Kentucky accent. Sometimes I may drop into it. It's out of admiration for the gentleman, not making fun of him, Shannon, Robert. Just saying.
That is definitive, and there's a reason for that. And so that would not have happened. We would not have this narrative had the JFK disclosure bill not passed, and the archives and the CIA had to release these documents. And so I think that it's a good example of if it worked with JFK, knowing that the CIA would do everything they can to not release, but they still had to. I think if it worked for that, it'll work for UAP.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that answer. I want to ask you along those lines, I believe that you've mentioned publicly that our now Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is either in communication with your committee or at least interested in also looking into this subject. Can you give us a sense of whether there's an interaction taking place and what the intention is there?
I know that Anna is in communications with Tulsi Gabbard. I know that, and that's what I'm being told. I don't have a direct connection to Tulsi. I would love to, but not at this time.
Okay, got you. Thank you for your candor about that. I mean, are you confident that the administration, at the cabinet level, might become interested in or start to back the measures in the UAP Disclosure Act, which, as you know, are a review board that would be responsible for reviewing all federal government records on UAP and with the intent of declassification. It would take a president or cabinet officials to really make sure the agencies comply. Do you guys think you can secure some agreement there?
Yeah, I think we can. We were blocked in last year from doing this because of some individuals that were in the position to block us. Those individuals are not in that position anymore, and so I think that we have a chance to get this done. The Senate clearly wants to do it. I mean, it passed out of the Senate; it just was stripped out of the House bill.
Right.
One of the things I want to bring up here really quick, you know what's nice about these interviews, Mike, that we're getting here from the Soul Foundation and Peter Skafish and Merrick von Rennenkamp?
Okay.
They're staying away from all the drama. They're just focusing on the facts, bringing things together, talking about the disclosure, not necessarily about the salacious things that they could potentially talk about, like we see from a bunch of other podcasts and interview with Burlison.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right about that. I agree. But I just want to clarify one thing. Burlison said that they are using the JFK legislation as a model for the UAPDA, and that it was successful because the CIA had no choice but to comply with the legislation that was written into law. I disagree with that. You and I have said countless times that it comes from the top down. If the current serving president of the United States does not want this information out, I don't care if they legislated it or not, it's not coming out. We just pointed that out. The only reason we got any of the JFK files was because the sitting president declassified them. If he didn't do that, even though it was in the law, we never would have gotten shit. So that analysis that he put out there for Peter Skafish is not entirely accurate about this type of legislation. You see what I'm saying? You see my point?
I got where you're coming from, Mike. I guess everyone has a different lens of how they see the stuff, and it depends on how closely they are aligned to the day-to-day of things going on versus just focusing on the bigger topics.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out for the audience so that they're clear about the differences of what he's claiming and how it actually is.
All right.
Daryl has his hand up.
Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah, didn't he say that he does not have a direct line to, was it
Tulsi Gabbard?
To Tulsi Gabbard. Why not?
Correct.
Why not?
Because
he's a fucking congressman.
Right.
Why doesn't he have I can write to
And he's from the oversight committee, right?
Yeah. Why I mean I can write to Tulsi Gabbard. Why can't he write to Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, he's a congressman. How do you not have a line to the intelligence community?
Right, Daryl?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. I would call. I would actually get up out of my office and I would go across the hall and I would knock on her door and announce myself and walk right. Well, that's me. But I think that's just how I operate. But the point is, he could do that, but he's not. So
well, if House representatives will go to ICE facilities and try to break in, there's no reason why they can't go to the office of the ODNI and knock on the door and walk in. Act like you belong.
I had a direct line. I wish. That's just bizarre to me.
This is the problem with government. It doesn't work like the military. It doesn't work like a police department, a fire department, or a Dunkin' Donuts. It's not efficient. And this is the problem. They have all this money. They only work 140 some days a year. And this is the best that they can do. They can't even go and speak to each other about a critical situation.
Issue. Right.
Yeah, that's affecting the entire planet. This is the best we have. So if I was an NHI or the Borg, I would just do whatever the hell I want. And that's exactly what's going on.
Well, you mean like fly drones all over New
I would
Jersey?
just do whatever I want. I wouldn't even speak to humans. I would just do whatever the hell I want.
Right. And at the top of the show, we were covering about the potential scientific breakthrough that's going to be coming out shortly. And that's means we can't depend on the government. They're not going to give us the truth. But other people out there, like the science and technology community, may very well force their hand. So that's, at least we're on the right track.
Well, like Thomas said, we got the truth about Martin Luther King, so at least, we're working towards the truth in America, right? We just got to wait another, like you guys said earlier, another, 50 years for our grandkids to figure it out, because it's not really going to be in our lifetime or our generation. And that's the worst part about it.
What sucks is here that Major Frames over here on the left, he didn't ask that question. Why don't we have media, like that ask these questions? Why not the Soul Foundation, for God's sake? Why not ask that guy, why don't you have a link to the head of the intelligence community?
Because the questions are predetermined before they have the interview, because the media, every single media outlet that we all can hear works for the government, and they have to get okayed by the government, right? The government can just shut it down anytime they want to, and Trump has proven that.
You're talking about a Biden press conference where all the questions had to be submitted in writing ahead of time, and he would go down the sheet with the pictures there and ask the people the questions based on the pre-vetted. We've gotten past that at this point, I believe.
We're still at that. We haven't gotten past that because that's the situation that we're in right now, why people aren't asking this administration the questions that's on every American's mind.
Well, maybe there's
I can tell you, Abe, this is not how Thomas and I do it. Every guest that we've ever booked and had on the show, it is an open-ended conversation. Nothing is scripted. We just shoot from the hip, see what's on everybody's mind, and have a free-flowing, fluid conversation, because that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan does it that way.
Yeah.
And
we either need to get you guys to have these guys on your show, or we need to get you guys in the administration. One or the other needs to happen.
We wish. On that note, fighting off a cluster headache, Mike. You know what a cluster headache feels like? It's one of those things you have at what are those things called where you can go ahead and cut things?
Yeah.
Pair of scissors, right? Yeah. And it just feels like you got a pair of scissors and you just take it and you just jam it in to part of your head and just move it around a little bit. That's what a cluster headache feels like. Or actually, it's an ice pick headache. Yeah, I just got one of those a second ago. You got to love them.
Yeah, you've been fighting with this whole day today, so it's finally kicking in.
Oh, I know. It's there. It's just saying hello, but let's move on with the video if we could.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Right. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit.
Exactly.
Among people who are concerned with UAP and UAP secrecy, the fact that you brought former National Reconnaissance Office Officer David Grush onto your staff to work with the House Oversight Committee, I mean, that's considered extremely significant, and it may be the first time a whistleblower has actually been employed after doing formal whistleblowing in Congress. So that by itself is a lot. But you took Grush on as a staff member. What kind of impact has he had on committee members and committee staff?
This is a huge question. Before we get to it, Daryl, you put your hand up, ask away, and then I want to hear why. What is the impact of Grush? What say you, Daryl?
Yeah, that's what I mean, I'm just laughing over here because this guy's pointing out, you brought Grush on. Well, how has he impacted your office? Oh, well, he sent me to go look at the Nazca mummies. Okay, I'm done.
There are some that align to what he got wind of in briefings. So not all of them, but some of them. And if that's the case, hopefully he didn't say go. He should have said, go check out the Nazca mummies, but stay the fuck around from Stephen Greer. And here's a picture. Don't go there.
Yeah. Avoid this like the plague.
Yeah, that didn't happen. So let's find out the benefits of having Grush on staff.
Really, I mean, an amazing impact. Right, because, and the reason why I brought him on is because just from my experience working with the staff of the Oversight Committee, who are I think the Oversight Committee staff are the best, some of the best staffers on Capitol Hill, but they are not intelligence community people. Many of them are attorneys. They know how to investigate, fraud, but this is a totally different topic. And so it became abundantly clear that I don't know where to even go look. They don't know where to go look or who to ask or who to talk to or what to do, how to navigate this web of bureaucracy that is the intelligence community. Look, I need almost a decoder to understand all the acronyms that David Grush knows so well. In fact, whenever he and I are talking, I often have to say, I need a translation. I need a translation for what you just said. Can you please?
Which is something we try to do time to time here, Mike. When people bring up some of the abbreviations, we have to spell it out for our audience because not everybody's up to point.
We do. No, you're right.
Yeah.
And obviously Congress seems to be struggling with the same issue.
That's all right.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop using acronyms here. But yeah, that he has been an absolute asset. And it is very unconventional. I took a big risk, and a lot of people told me that this was not to do this. But look, I mean, if we're going to get somewhere, I just knew that if we didn't do this or hire someone like Dave, get somebody like him on board, we were just going to keep spinning our wheels.
Yeah, and it seems like you made progress in the last hearing as a result, and you're about to make progress with another hearing. No matter if it goes as far as you want it to go this time, which is working on this professionally. I know how difficult that is. So it's again, Congressman, very, very appreciated. Let me ask you a question related to all this. There is a tension, I think, with disclosure efforts and also just congressional inquiries into UAP secrecy between the right to know, you might put it that way, of the public on the one hand, and then the equities the federal government has in the subject or related classified subjects. What do you think about navigating?
Yeah, my view is very philosophical. I believe that this topic, that no government has the right to protect or to hide something of this nature from the American people. And I fundamentally believe that the government works for the people, not the other way around. And so the people own this government. I think it's time that this government stop holding on to secrets that the American people need to know.
Boy. Mike, what about what about those two words called national security? In 1947, days after Roswell, we got the National Security Act that was put in place in 1947. Go figure.
Right.
And we shifted from what Eric was talking about, Representative Burlison,
right,
to a national security state of America where we don't have that right to that information anymore. We don't need to know because it could jeopardize the national security, however they want to call it out, of America, allowing them to take anything, whole topics, different ways of seeing things in math and physics, and lock it all away.
Right, which is what they've been doing. Now, interestingly enough, they've also handcuffed David Grush, even though he's working within Congress as a staffer right now. They will not reinstate his SCI clearance, which is what he would need to attend these meetings, to access this information. They have made sure, the Department of Defense, the executive branch, that they will keep David Grush far away and out of this as is humanly possible.
Yeah. He's been blackballed. He's said too much. He's not part of the club anymore, and they're going to do everything to go ahead and say, no, anything we ever did at the Bohemian Grove, that didn't exist. And if you were there and you saw that, you can't talk about it.
Right.
Same bullshit.
That's right. Right.
And there's some creepy stuff that went on there, my friend. Holy cow.
Oh, there is. You're absolutely right about that. But they're making damn sure that David Grush is not able to officially access any of this information through normal channels. Now, that doesn't mean when he is in the office with Burlison that they can't have a private conversation. They can. And at that point, he could fill Burlison in on what he needs to know, but not in an official capacity.
No.
So they're still stonewalling.
And it's nothing that Burlison could ever act on because technically he didn't hear that stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
That's right. Good point. So that's how this is working within Congress and the government because of these obstacles.
Yeah. If I may, Mike, really quick.
Yeah.
You know, if you're watching the show right now, friends, we have 400 people watching the show live. Somehow it'll drop down when I bring this up. But you know what? If you haven't given us a thumbs up, go ahead and give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Tell us what you think about the show in the comments. If there's stuff we could do, at least try to improve what we do here at Disclosure tonight. More importantly, if you haven't subscribed yet, Mike, what does it cost you?
Oh, it's the cost is free, and we give you a double your money back guarantee.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to have you as a
everybody.
regular viewer on the show. If you've been watching us for an hour and 35 minutes or whatever into this so far, at least hit that button, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. It helps the algorithm with YouTube and to share our broadcast with more people.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you like it, please, by all means, like and subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so we did the PBS thing. People are leaving, so let's continue.
So that's fundamentally how I view this topic. And there is a tension, just to elaborate, there is a tension. You know, there's concerns often that are brought up that we might be exposing programs that are truly intelligence, you know, things that are national security issues. But at the end of the day, these technological advances belong to everyone. And the topic, you know, of the fact that we may or may not have contacted an alien or non-human intelligence, that is not for this government or any government hold onto those rights. And so that's why I think that what we're trying to do is with the disclosure, with the Disclosure Act that we're working on, I think it does it through a thoughtful process that we're protecting our technology, but we're also getting the information out to the American people and being transparent. And look, I also, for example, I fly a lot. And I fly commercial. And as I was sitting at Reagan 2 weeks ago for 3 hours on the tarmac, not moving, waiting for weather to change, and getting angry and angry as I'm sweating in this hot airplane, I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it, if this is true, that the United States and our contractors have got technology that would absolutely change the way we travel, then I think that's going to make me very angry if that's true.
But if we had these new ways of changing everything around, Mike, that would give a particular government or particular, let's say, company like Lockheed Skunk Works the ability to go ahead and revolutionize air travel, let's say, around the world, and they could own the industry and no one could compete with them, why wouldn't a company do that?
There's no reason why they wouldn't. But then again, if you remember, Matthew Brown, when he came out publicly with George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, he said that he is aware that the government is limiting the amount of technology that's available to the public, that we do have technological breakthroughs that the government has been developing for decades, but they want to keep us in a tight box of technological advancement. So I remember that there's a method to the madness as it goes.
Yeah, maybe, but I just have to call that out as one of those things that just doesn't add up completely. So let's continue on with this video.
And they've been holding on to that. I think that the world deserves to be able to share in the knowledge and science that's been developed or reverse engineered if it exists.
Right, but if we have that technology and it is brought out, everyone in the world gets it. So there goes that national security of taking that and keeping it for ourselves, for defense.
Right. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, because that's why they lock all this up, because potentially they look at this, if our adversaries get a hold of this technology before us, it's game over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it. We're screwed if that happens. Yeah. Absolutely right.
Exactly.
And so that's my view.
Okay, that's a remarkable statement. So I want to follow up on that a little. It sounds like you have a certain level of confidence that there has been some successful reverse engineering then.
I can't say. I'm repeatedly told that, but I've not seen it firsthand. We're requesting to see that firsthand, but until I do, I can't definitively say that there is reverse engineering of NHI.
Understood. Now, when you were speaking a moment ago,
did you catch that eye movement, Mike?
Yeah, I did.
Let's watch it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Understood.
Right there goes rolling the eyes, literally.
Yeah.
Now, when you were speaking a moment ago, pretty forcefully about the U.S. government really not having the right to suppress fundamental facts about this and possibly even technologies. I thought, this is sounding like the 1970s again, when Congress really pushed back against the intelligence community and including the DoD part, and really demanded accountability, did hearings, established intelligence community oversight. So I'm wondering, what kind of pushback are you and your colleagues getting?
If anything, it's usually the pushback is a paperwork process. So, we just got denied a request today, and we're going to have to look at how do we address it? Do we issue a subpoena? I'm not getting direct pushback from leadership. We did at one point with a committee chairman, but the speaker seems to
Committee chairman, that would be James Comer. No, James Comer. James Comer.
It was also Mike Turner who was the chair of
right,
the House
but he's talking
Intelligence
potentially about, remember, we just heard from Representative Garcia, who's part of oversight, that GOP leadership isn't excited about this.
They're not supporting this.
They're not you know, there's not as much interest in it as there was in the past. And that would make it Comer, who's also over the Secrets Task Force, remember, and Mike Johnson. And remember, they went to Johnson, they asked for a select committee on UAP, and they were turned down because, Johnson said he didn't think it was necessary.
Right. Yeah. And there's no budget for it, correct?
Yeah. Let's just watch a couple more minutes of this and we'll call us to a close. Here we go.
The agnostic are really, he's not trying to stop us from getting access to this information. And the White House has been, the limited conversations I've had with the White House have been at least somewhat, have been successful and somewhat supportive of the topic.
Okay, that's amazing, and that I think
we haven't heard that yet, have we, Mike?
Optimism.
No. So that's news, saying that the conversations from the White House have been supportive. Let's see how supportive they get.
Here's a question. It's a bit of a slightly technical one about government. I've often been told by retired government officials that it's the intelligence committees that really would have jurisdiction over the UAP issue. And I know that some of the people that you and I both know really targeted the Oversight Committee because it was the out-of-box committee that wasn't going to worry about that. What are you guys having to do to get access to or cooperation from intelligence agencies on this?
Yeah, when we're requesting a briefing, we submit. There's a process that the staff follow, and part of that process is that a letter is sent. Well, first and foremost, the intelligence community determines what is going to be in the briefing, and then they submit a letter to the chairman of Intel, the ranking member of Intel, the chairman of House Armed Services Committee, and the ranking member as well. So they send a letter to those 4 individuals, and if any one of those individuals decides to block it, then it's blocked for us being able to have access to that briefing.
So here's, I think, maybe one of the most important questions I could ask you. You've gotten yourself pretty involved in this over a 2-year period. That first hearing was almost exactly 2 years ago. You've probably come a long way and you're thinking about the subject. Why are you involved in this at all? And, what would you want Americans to know about it and its importance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about releasing the Epstein files, releasing the information on JFK. I think that to the point of what I said earlier is that when you have a federal government that holds information, keeps secrets from the people that it's supposed to be accountable to, you have a broken system. This government I strongly believe this government belongs to the people, and that's why I'm pursuing as much transparency as possible, because I think that it is a fundamental part of having a good government.
Okay, got you. And so here's a final question, and I think this is a big one, but I'm sure you have some developed thoughts about it. Do you think Americans and the rest of the world would be ready to learn that it's true that there is a presence of non-human, possibly extraterrestrial intelligence, and that's what a lot of UAP are?
Yeah, I mean, in the course of the conversations that I've had with people, I do think that the American people are ready for that. I think that they are mature enough to be able to handle it. I don't think it's going to crash the world economy. I think that, what's remarkable is we may be able to roll out an actual vehicle, put it on display, have the press report it, and a vast majority of the American people will probably just move on to something else the next day. I really think that it's at that point where it's not going to change. It's not going to radically change our society. But I do think that at the end of the day, I think we ought to trust the American people and trust them to govern their lives and trust them with the information.
Congressman, really want to thank you for this interview. And I want to express before we go that I think a lot of people have a great deal of admiration for the positions you've taken and the work.
Well, Mike, that's been one heck of a great interview.
It was interesting. I'll give you that. So not bad, actually, compared to, like you said earlier, all of the drama that we tend to get on this subject. It was nice to have a pretty straightforward approach.
And I'm pushing the limits of fair use. We'll see what happens. But
we'll be okay.
Yeah, we should be fine.
I know.
We used to do this. We used to do this a lot more and just skirt it a bit more, but why not?
No, exactly. Under the circumstances, why the hell not?
Exactly.
Especially now.
So, any final words from anyone in the back panel before we head out? Thought I'd ask. Any hands? No one? Nobody? Bueller? I think we're good, Mike. Wow, what a great show.
I think we are good.
A great opportunity to hang out with friends. I think our audience had a good time. Let's go ahead and...
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, for that matter. Let's go ahead and kick this up a little bit. I want to thank everybody for coming out. More importantly, wow, thank you for all the support we get here at Disclosure tonight. Yeah, we're a fan-funded program, and thank you. Appreciate it for all the love and support we've gotten tonight. Who am I talking about, Mike? Let's bring this up. Let me jump back into the full studio here. Let's desk chat. Here we go. All right, who was out there? Who gave us some super chats tonight? I want to go ahead and thank Kyle Reinhardt. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your donation. No, thank you for your donation, Kyle. $20. Wes Decker once. Hi again, and hello, Daryl. Thank you very much. Not once, but twice. Thank you very much, Wes Decker. Gotta thank Daryl. Happy Monday. Am I the number one fan? I'm not sure. Who is the number one fan right now? Top fans in the show right now. Sorry, Kyle Reinhardt seems to be the number one fan right now, followed by Wes Decker and Daryl's YouTube. Daryl, you're number 3. I want to thank JCat for everything you do. I love you, Thomas, Mike, and DT family. Appreciate all the work you do for the show. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you could appreciate the show tonight. What I'm talking about, yes, YouTube has come out with yet another marketing scheme. It's called Top Fans for the Show. What am I talking about? I guess the people who message the most and donate the most and everything else all appear in a top fan index. We'll have to figure out how we can go ahead and bring this in with 1,075 experience points. Kyle came in first, followed by Wes Decker, number 2 at 850. And then Daryl is YouTube, 625, followed by JCat, Meow, and Century City, and a lot of our friends here at Disclosure tonight. Thank you for all the love you do. Would you look at that? Even Delta Echo. I think it's everybody who puts something in the chat. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate the communicate. We appreciate the friendship and the participation in the show. Mike. Thank you for coming out, my friend.
It was my pleasure. We had a lot of interesting things to talk about to the audience. And I also want to say, in the front chat of the show, Laura Sobolewski has said that you murder her name, and she's not going to like or subscribe until you say it correctly. So I just want to let her know I said it correctly. So please, Laura, like and subscribe.
Have I been slaughtering someone's by the name of Laura in the chat?
Sobolewski, yeah.
I'm looking for Laura. I got
Sobolewski.
I don't see her in the chat at all.
No, she's in the chat. She just replied again.
Just right now. All right.
Right this minute, as we were saying, closing the show out.
Well, I'll have to share with you. You know what? I'm in top chat. I haven't been in live chat. Let me pop out the chat. I thought I did this earlier. Something went on with Google during the show. Let's look for Laura at the end. No, she is not showing up And I know I don't have her blocked. Laura, say something again. There's no way I could say her name because she's literally not in my chat, Mike.
Paula Sobolewski.
Paula.
She just said something. Paula.
You said
Paula.
okay.
Yeah.
You said Laura.
Yeah, my mistake. But it's
So,
Paula Sobolewski.
I've never mentioned her name before. Have I?
Okay. I don't know.
How could I get a Polish name like Sobolewski wrong, right?
Yeah, you said it perfectly.
Sobolewski, it's a Polish name, I would think.
Yeah. No, it is. Good
My
job.
great aunt Ludwika Sikta, who was the head nun for the Royal Order, the Holy Heart kind of a thing. You know how from Szwedzany, Poland, would kill me from her death, from her deathbed if I said a Polish name wrong. And if I did, my fault. I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
And an audience member asked if there is any breaking news, would we put on an emergency show? Yes, we would.
Yeah. If there was breaking,
Absolutely.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I almost did a show last Wednesday when you lost your phone, Mike.
I remember. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
If there's any new developments that we think are breaking, we will come on live and tell everybody about
But we
it.
always come and we trust us. No, don't trust me. No, yeah, that's Yiddish for fuck you. But I'll trust me. No, friends, if something happens, we'll come out and we'll talk about it. Absolutely.
Yep. We usually do.
But it's been so
really slow, my friend.
Yeah. How slow is it? It's so slow that we need the kicker to go into it. Yes, we'll have fun. Polski. God, who's the new head of ARO right now? Kozlowski, another Polish name. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we got another one. Casey is there. Sarnomski. Casey is here. I see him in the chat. Well, it sounds Polish. I'm Polish. The ski on the end is awarded. Immigrants from Poland added to make them feel of a higher status. I guess. Maybe. I forget my grandmother's last name. May I rot in hell for that one. But anyway, my God, friend, as we usually say, Mike, at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you soon, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye.